Okay, let me first of all, I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. It's actually very humbling to present in this forum. As I was introduced, I'm a research scientist working with the Social Science and Impact Assessment Unit of ICIPE. And because I believe most of you do not know about ICIPE, I'm just going to start with a short introduction of what is ICIPE, or rather who we are. So this is the full names: International Center for Insects Physiology and Ecology, and we are headquartered in Nairobi, Kenya. But I'll show in a minute. We are also in other countries. So the ICIPE is a center of excellence in Africa for research and capacity building in insect science and its application. We are an intergovernmental organization with quite a big number of staff, about 530 staff of 40 nationalities from all over the world. And we usually recruit about 150 to 100 graduate students annually. ICIPE has a record of about 50 years. We just celebrated our 50-year anniversary, I think, 2 years ago. And during that period, we have had 4 directors. The current director is Dr. Keremu from Ethiopia. This is how ICIPE works. We work in 4 main health themes: the human health, working on malaria, sleeping sickness, and other vectors of human diseases. Then we have the animal and animal health, dealing with all sorts of pests and diseases that affect plants, and this is where our mango work falls. And then we have the animal health, looking at tsetse, tick, and biting flies, and other diseases that affect animals. We also have the environmental health that deals with research on bees and other commercial insects, including the insect for food and feed, which is currently a very big research area. And over and above that, we have the large component of capacity building, institutional development through these different programs. I'm coming from a unit called the Social Science and Impact Assessment Unit. These are research support. We support all the other different themes. As you can see, there are quite a number of other different units working on different areas. For instance, we have the data management team and others that support the different themes. And in a nutshell, this is where we work in Africa. As you can see, we have presence in almost all the countries in Africa. And as I said, we are headquartered in Nairobi, but we have another office in the west of Kenya. We also have main office in another office in Ethiopia, as well as CITRI offices or presence in different universities and different institutions in Africa. So for the topic of today, I was requested to talk on the effect of technology innovation on gender roles. This is the case of fruit fly, IPM adoption, and women decision making. As Riandra said, I have worked a lot, I think since I joined ICIPE, I have been working on integrated pest management for fruit fly and also for other pests and other crops. But my bulk of the work has been on mango fruit fly. So for this particular, just a way of introduction, in sub-Saharan Africa, fruits and vegetables play a very important socioeconomic role. And it employs about 75% of women alone in Kenya. And of course, this is along the whole value chain of mango from mango production to marketing. In Kenya, mango is actually ranked the second in terms of exotic fruits or export after banana. So it contributes significantly to a population of rural areas. And however, the production of mango in Kenya, just like many sub-Saharan Africa, is potential is below the potential, and chiefly because of the fruit fly, the invasive fruit fly, which is Bactrocella dorsalis, actually no longer invadens. So the fruit fly challenge is actually a very big challenge in terms of economic losses, estimated to be about USD 2 billion USD. And of course, this is contributed both directly and indirectly. Directly through, loss of fruits. This has been estimated to be between 30 to 100%. And of course, indirectly due to quarantine restrictions on trade and lost export opportunities in the lucrative markets due to these invasives. So what has ICIPE done in order to bridge this gap? So ICIPE has developed an IPM package for management of fruit fly. As you can see in this beautiful photo here, we have different components of the approach or the package, including the use of orchard sanitation. We have parasitoids being introduced from where the invasive Bactrocella dorsalis came from. We also have biopesticides. We also have this technology called male annihilation technique that eliminates the males from the environment so that the females, the eggs do not get hatched. And then we also have the food bait spray. So all these have been disseminated and proven to work. And of course, we have done a lot of impact assessment. We have seen that mango loss is reduced due to fruit fly. We also have seen reduced expenditure on pesticide. We have also seen improvement in mango income, as well, of course, translating to second level impact on, reduction of poverty, improvement of food security, and also the health and environmental risks that are associated with the use of pesticides. So overall, of course, the IPM program has contributed to poverty reduction, food security, and improvement of health status of the communities involved. So for this particular study, we thought, yes, we have looked at this ICIPE fruit fly IPM and recorded the direct benefits on yields, on pesticide expenditure, and on environment. But then we thought, how does this technology then influence the gender roles? Have women, or how are decisions made between men and women when it comes to mango production? Does the women role in mango production and marketing, has it been interrupted because of the technology? We all know that from the gender literature that women are constrained when it comes to productive resources. And therefore, are they able to assess this technology the same way as men? The other thing we know from literature is that when a product or a crop becomes commercialized, men tend to shift their focus to the commercialized, a crop and taking over from women. So we thought, why don't we look at how this technology has influenced the gender roles in mango production and marketing? So, so the objective was to evaluate the effect of fruit fly IPM strategy on women decision-making in mango production and marketing. These nice photos you are seeing here are some of the IPM technologies that I mentioned. The guy in black is one of our technicians, and these women are some of the farmers who have benefited from our IPM technologies. So to do this study, we selected 2 sub-counties in one county of Kenya. This is just an administrative unit where mango production is predominant. So for one sub-county, we treated it as treatment, then we distributed the IPM products or package to the farmers, and the other one we treated it as a control. Earlier I was mentioning about a picture that Leandra used for the introduction. This picture is actually from one of these sub-counties, the Moara sub-county. And so all these, both counties are characterized by small-scale mango production, and actually this is the target for or most of our work. We have a few farmers who do large-scale farming, who are also beneficiaries, but most of our research focuses on smallholder farmers. So we selected randomly 300 mango growers from the two sub-counties, and we collected panel data. For those who know, panel data is just repeating or collecting data from the same people for more than one time. So we had a before and after the distribution of IPM packages, and just because of purposes of attrition, we had a few farmers who dropped when we were doing the final survey, or the second round of the survey. So in total, we had 289 farmers from the treatment area and 277 from the control area. And of course, because this study looks at gender, we analyzed households that had both a spouse, the head and the spouse. And in that case, the sample reduced to 470 households. So how did we capture the women roles in marketing and production? So we adopted what, I don't know whether you people are familiar with, the Women Empowerment in Agriculture Index that has been developed and actually still being developed by IFPRI team. Right now, they started with Women Empowerment in Agriculture, then they have abbreviated Women Empowerment in Agriculture, then they realized that different projects measure different, gender women empowerment in different ways, so they have come up with project level women empowerment. So we use the very original Women Empowerment in Agriculture Index domains and indicators, as you can see here, but of course we tailored them to fit in our study so that we could examine the different roles of women. So we have, as you can see, there are 5 domains in measuring women involvement in mango production and marketing. So the first one is production, where we ask, which looks at the price to acquire production inputs, how much input has been put in production, the distribution of production inputs in each of the mango plots. Then we have resources, where to acquire credit, when to acquire, how much, income, marketing channels to use, who receive the money from mango sales, and how the money is allocated that to women. So we were looking at where decisions made by whether it's man only, women only, or jointly. So if there is a women only or joint decision making, then we learned that indicator is 1. So basically, those were the 5 domains that we looked at, and then we constructed what we're calling decision-making index. This is just a simple way of, aggregating the decision-making index, also borrowed from the same team. And if for us to say that a woman has been empowered, then they need to have an aggregate score of 80% in all the 5 domains, or they should have at least 5 for a full score in 4 of the 5 domains. So 80% is considered as the empowerment score for guided by the IFPRI team. And for analysis, we used the Tobit difference in difference model. Tobit because we have the DMI is a 0 to 1 variable, dependent variable. And then, of course, this is a panel data analysis. That's why we have the time dummy there, baseline and endline. Then we have the treatment variable, which is treatment or control. And then we had a set of many exogenous or independent variables that, of course, could also influence decision-making index. So this just highlights some of those explanatory or exogenous variables that we considered. Important, of course, based on literature and also the context of the study. For instance, the age of, the female or the woman. Of course, we all know that age has an influence on decisions that are made within the household. We have also time spent on by the female spouse in farming activities, and also so a full set of different farm characteristics of the individual, as well as household characteristics, including the land ownership in terms of size, the number of female and male members of the household, and also some of the social norms. We know social norms, cultural norms and social norms are very important in influencing how women make decisions in the household. So all those were considered. And these are the results. I just show, first of all, the descriptive results, Women Decision-Making Index before and after the interventions. The IPM adopters here are the treatment, and the IPM non-adopters are the non-treatment. And if you look at the decision-making index for the women before the baseline was about 58%, but after the intervention, this one reduced significantly, as you can see, to about 37.2%. And if you look at the different domains, you can see, for instance, the production domain reduced from 8% to 6%. The resource domain also reduced from 10 to 5%. Income domain 16 to 12. Time domain the same, as well as the leadership domain. So overall, the decision making of women after the technology actually reduced. So meaning there was a shift in decision making by the men from before the intervention came. And obvious, as I said, there was a bit of income improved, losses reduced. So as I said from the beginning, the premise or the hypothesis that when a crop is commercialized or income increases, we tend to see men shifting their focus from to that crop that has gained more income. Just to show the empirical analysis, if you recall in the model, the one that we are interested in, the variable is the one that interacts the treatment and the time. And you can see it's significant, and it's also negative, meaning that, after controlling for the exogenous variables, decision-making for women still reduced significantly by about 22%. And of course, as I said before, this agrees with the earlier studies that women decision-making or their involvement in commercial crops reduces when technologies are introduced. Something that we as technology designers and implementers that we should put in mind, so that the benefits of the technologies are distributed equally among different households members. So as a way of conclusion, of course, as I said, we assess the impact of IPM technology on women decision-making, on marketing, production, mango production and marketing, and we have seen a decrease in decision-making index by 21.2%, and meaning that women lost control in different domains of production and marketing and distribution of benefits. And therefore, it's important that policy effort should enhance women decision-making, or should put in mind some of these implications when the technology is being designed and distributed. So some of the exogenous variables that we saw in the regression model that support this is through enhancing the extension services, increasing access to training of women, so that they're involved in some cases. We see when trainings are conducted in the field, sometimes the timing don't favor women, and therefore if the women are not involved in the training, then they have very little decisions to make when it comes to handling those produce. There's also need for direct intervention for women investment in mango production. Of course, some of the women are also saying they are not able to buy the products, even if they are the ones involved in managing the mangoes, because of constraints to do with the resources. And there's also need to strengthen social capital network. We all know the importance of social networks, group memberships, through which women could be trained, and also through which women could, assess some of this information from fellow farmers. I think that's all from me. Thank you very much for listening, and I look forward to your questions and comments.
Thank you so much for that, Beatrice. That was a great presentation and really informative. I should say that it was really interesting to see the level of women's participation in decision-making decrease with the adoption of IPM. So I've got a couple of questions here from Bossy, some great ones, I should say. So the first one, what guided or influenced setting the indicators for each of the domains?
So can I just go ahead?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, thank you very much. I see Bosibori Bet is the one who is asking this question. That name sounds very familiar. Thank you very much for the question. As I said, we adopted the Women Empowerment in Agriculture Index that have been provided and tested by the IFPRI team for measuring women empowerment. However, as I said, we tailored those questions, what has been provided to fit into what we wanted to measure. So what happens with this Women Empowerment Index? There are some questions, general questions that have been set out that should be, tailored to whatever crop that we are, if you are doing research that you are looking at. So based on our context, we defined the questions based on what we thought was important in terms of the different roles that women do. And actually, even before we did this, we went out and did a focus group discussion to have an understanding of some, the key roles that are done by men and women, or the key roles involved in mango production and marketing. So this was the what guided us. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you.
I go to the second question.
Yes, definitely. So this is another question by Bossy. Honestly, the decrease in decision making is a concern. How can this be addressed? Are they initially involved when the IPM technologies are being developed?
Wow, yeah, this is a very important, and as I said, of course, this is the feedback that we gave back to our team, so that they can align. For instance, as I said, some of this training did not. I would say the dissemination of the technology was not gender mainstreamed. So bringing back this information helped our team in considering some of some key areas. For instance, the training, the timing for training, as I said, it should not coincide with when women are doing home chores. There was also a consideration of can we have a set aside place where women can come and put their children there as they concentrate with the training. The other thing was to establish demonstration plots where women can go at their convenience and get trained. We have lead farmers or model farmers within different villages who have been as trained and actually are willing, and they're willing to train whoever comes to their farm at any given time, so that women can come at these farms conveniently and get the training, and of course even they are told where to get the materials. So in terms of involving them in IPM in development, and not really, because this is a pest which some of this development has been done in the lab. But I think the most important stage is the dissemination. How inclusive is women are in terms of the dissemination. That's what I would say, possible.
I think this would probably get you to answer a couple more. Are there any major diseases in mango other than fruit fly in your country?
Oh yes, definitely there are diseases. For instance, the anthracnose is quite a major problem right now, and also the white scales or something. Let me say, for the anthracnose, there are a few solutions that have come up that are being disseminated alongside the fruit fly IPM package. So yes, definitely they are there, and they are also being addressed.
Lovely. I am conscious of the time, so Beatrice, if you could just probably answer the rest, any questions that come through in the Q&A box, that would be great. But we will have to move on to our next speaker. That's Handevi. And thank you so much, Beatrice. That was a really great presentation.